All right, SICW fans, the action gets underway. I'm Drew Abbenhouse, joined by our very special guest commentator, Patrick Brandemeyer. Pat, thanks for being here.
Thank you very much, Drew. It's an honor to be here, as I said. We got some great action coming up here. The wild child, the volatile Curtis Wylde, he's corrected you on that in the past.
Indeed.
Accompanied by WyldeFyre, his #1 Jinja, as he calls her.
Yeah.
And on the other side of the ring, the man of tomorrow, Daniel Eads.
Daniel Eads, the most recent recipient of Missouri Wrestling Revival's Future Star of the Year award. So this is a real up-and-coming young athlete to keep an eye on here.
No question about that. And Curtis Wylde has been protesting for the past couple of months about how he wants a shot at the title. But Daniel Eads is in line for a title shot as well, so this could go a long way in determining who's going to move up that ladder into title contention.
Yep.
But if Curtis Wylde wants to win this, he'd better be focused 100% on Daniel Eads. This guy's picked up some impressive victories over the past couple of years. Still relatively new to the wrestling business, but he's come a long way in a short amount of time.
He absolutely has. And, you know, Daniel Eads recently has been sort of putting himself through a self-imposed boot camp, where he's eating right, he's working out properly, and he's just closing himself off to the distractions in life so that he can shoot straight to the top. I mean, it's, you know, the man of tomorrow. These are Superman references, and if you're going to be Superman, you know, there's a lot of sacrifices you have to make to get yourself there, and Daniel Eads has been making those sacrifices.
And Curtis Wylde's thinking he's going to be kryptonite tonight, but right now, it looks like the fans definitely approve of Daniel Eads a little more than Curtis Wylde.
I think so. Now, this is a really interesting contest here. Daniel Eads, the younger guy, has been a competitor for around 2 years. He obviously has a slight height advantage. He has the strength advantage. I would have to imagine that he's maybe a little faster. I don't know that for sure. Curtis, you know, might have some hidden speed there. But Curtis Wylde, on the other hand, there you go. He's got the experience advantage. As you just saw, he used that experience advantage to get the one-up on the youngster Daniel Eads.
Absolutely.
But Curtis Wylde been in this game for many, many years and has faced some really top independent competitors over the last decade plus.
Yeah, he was out of the game for a little while, but he never stopped watching and keeping an eye on what was going on. You had to think that in the back of his mind he was scouting the opposition, looking for an opportunity to return to the game. And that's what we've been seeing in recent months.
Look at that chop. Daniel Eads says, "No, sir, that's doing nothing for me."
And Curtis Wylde trying to stick and move, but Daniel Eads caught him on that one. And rolling to the outside for perhaps a little consolation from WyldeFyre.
This is a real test for Daniel Eads. He's, first of all, battling someone with the experience edge, so he has to keep his wits about him and he has to keep his eyes open. And second of all, he has to really deal with, yes, he's wrestling Curtis Wylde, but he's essentially fighting two people because, as we've seen, WyldeFyre, you know, not content to just stay outside and just clap for her man. She likes to get a little involved every now and again, so Daniel Eads has to have a few eyes in the back of his head.
And Curtis Wylde, we just saw, having a little trouble getting through the ropes, and a drop kick sends him right back down to the floor.
That bottom rope is a very formidable opponent.
Yeah, I mean, it looks easy doing stuff from the outside, but sometimes stepping through those ropes can be a lot trickier than it looks.
And you see Curtis kind of get frustrated rather easily. He's someone who prides himself from being in control. He mentally knows what's going on, and he has the match sort of in his grasp. So when these little mishaps, these miscues happen, when he might accidentally fall on his face, or if, you know, something goes wrong, it kind of throws him off his game. And now you even see this strut. This is just to get into the head of Daniel Eads. This is mental warfare.
And you can see the packed to the rafters here. If we had rafters in the East Carondelet Community Center, they'd be up there. And right now, Daniel Eads looking to go aerial, slingshot elbow drop. Nicely done there by Daniel Eads.
Absolutely.
Showing that agility you mentioned earlier, and a count of two.
Now, you know both of these competitors are going to step up their game just a tad with the one and only, the legend, the Hall of Famer, Cowboy Bob Orton, is, you know, 3-4 feet away. So that's going to change the complexion of this match too, and it's going to make Curtis Wylde and WyldeFyre maybe have to work a little harder or give up on some of their underhanded tactics with Director of Operations sitting keeping an eye on these festivities.
Absolutely. You got to think Cowboy Bob Orton's keeping an eye on all the competition, and right there, WyldeFyre pulling down the top rope, the low bridge move, and Daniel Eads hit the floor hard there.
Well, Daniel Eads learning firsthand what it's like to feel the burn of the WyldeFyre.
Yeah, and you said earlier he's trying to train himself to not get distracted. That's going to be put to the test here. But WyldeFyre showed that she's not the type that likes being ignored. And
well, as you see with Daniel Eads, physically, he's got a lot of things on his side. But there are mental aspects of this wrestling game. There's a lot of little underhanded tricks that you're just not going to be totally familiar with and not going to have, you know, sort of your mind's eye open and looking out for until you've been in the business for years and years and years and you've experienced this stuff firsthand.
And Curtis Wylde letting himself get distracted by the fans at ringside who, as we said, are not really in his corner. Daniel Eads trying to fire back here. And Curtis Wylde cutting him off with that knee to the midsection. And a DDT there by Curtis Wylde.
That's going to ring the bell of the man of tomorrow right there.
But
it's hard to keep your wits about you when you've got your head filled with cobwebs, and that's exactly what a DDT will do to you. Not to mention the pressure and the torque that puts on your neck and your upper shoulders. So the DDT is more than just a one trick, you know. It does more than just one thing.
No question about it. And Daniel Eads trying to fire back here, perhaps going on a little bit of instinct. You got to think that DDT had to have dimmed his lights a little bit.
Absolutely. Those punches aren't quite as tight and precise as we're used to from the man of tomorrow. We have to imagine he has a few birdies flying around his head right now. And you can tell right there he's trying to clear those cobwebs.
But he drops the leg. He may still have a chance here. Going for the cover, 1, 2, and a count of 2. And as I was saying earlier, you got to think Cowboy Bob Orton perhaps looking for who that next challenger is going to be to the Classic Wrestling Championship. You got two prime contenders here. As I said, Curtis Wylde has been very vocal about wanting a championship opportunity. Daniel Eads been very impressive.
Daniel Eads more content to let his actions speak for themselves.
And right now, Curtis Wylde letting his actions speak. Just throwing those elbows, the knees, a bit of a brawler, I guess you could say. Not the most technically refined guy in the world, but he can get the job done. And right there, flying knee by Daniel Eads. Yeah. May have bought him a little bit of time there. Nice display of power there.
Nice. Daniel Eads going for that inverted atomic drop. Curtis Wylde tried to fight it off, but was not successful.
Version of the STO there by Daniel Eads. That almost a throttle into the leg sweep.
Sort of a combo between that STO and a choke slam in a way.
Going for that Superman elbow drop, and he nails it. Cover 1, 2. Oh, very close.
That inside leg, but that wasn't quite enough to get it done on this occasion.
Didn't have all the weight over the shoulders there. That may have made the difference. And WyldeFyre yelling for her guy to get up. Her meal ticket's on the line here, I guess you could say.
And I tell you what, that's a really smart thing on Curtis Wylde's part, because I know when I'm feeling not lazy, but if I'm having trouble, a nice screeching female voice is certainly what better motivator is there than that?
And she just tried to, she just put her hands on Daniel Eads. That'd be grounds for a disqualification, but the referee allowing a little bit of leeway here. But there it is. There's that Superman punch.
A little bit of mix-up between the couple from the Wylde side, right, with the leading into that Superman punch. And that's enough to get the job done.
Daniel Eads picking up the win here over Curtis Wylde.